So happy to have you here. And with me on stage today we have Dirk Engelbart from Engelbart Software, who will be partnering with me in this session for the live demonstrations. So let's start. I think we heard this morning when, if you have attended Ronald Rubin's session on digital transformation, we had the Dutch police and KPN on stage talking about what the challenges are currently in emergency services, and I would like to pick up two of the most serious challenges that I think we need to tackle over the next couple of years. One challenge, of course, is that, well, it is a phone service today, right? Not everyone, like me, is using these kind of old-style phones all the time over and calling, making real calls, and really getting access into emergency services. If there is any other channel out there in today's world, it might be SMS, it might be fax, in order to have an access channel for people with difficulties in hearing and speaking. So this is basically it, what we are seeing out there. But as we see that citizens are changing their minds in every country, and we have the younger generation coming up, the younger generation is more into texting. My own children as well, they sit there, like my colleague Marcel here, they sit there and they just text all the time. They have a phone, they have a SIM card in it, but probably at the end of the month there's not more than 2 calls. Right, so it's more natural to be on social, and it's really more natural for them also to reach out with text services like WhatsApp, like Facebook Messenger, and what else is going to come out in the next couple of years. So society is changing, habits are changing, also expectations are changing. And regarding expectations, we heard this from Willem this morning as well. Regarding expectations, it is about where am I? When I am calling 112, when I'm calling 911, when I'm calling 999, I want these guys to find me because I'm not calling them for fun. I call them because I need help, and probably sometimes immediate help. So, talking about mobile networks, they are around since 20-25 years, and in today's world, probably 70% of all emergency calls are originated from mobile phones. So, what does it mean when we talk about location accuracy? I tried to figure this out in an example where we are currently in. You remember this structure? You could find this on a map everywhere because it's so significant. But what does it probably mean for emergency services if you just consider the following example? This is the mobile network operator's radio base station, and this specific radio base station is built to cover that part of the palm. Now, if someone would raise an emergency call from this cell in the mobile network, the information that the operators get and that the public safety answering point gets is, yes, it's in this cell. But you know, looking at this example, in this cell can make a huge difference depending on where you are. If you would be there, and we would assume that the response is organized from here, that there will be ambulance cars somewhere in this area that you drive through with all the large houses, then it's probably only 2.5 kilometers or 4 minutes in order to get you there. But where you see the cell coverage, it's also going up there. Same cell, same information to the public safety answering point, but well, the delta in getting to these 7.7 kilometers of 8 minutes, between 4 to 12 minutes, can make a difference between life and death. And knowing exactly where a call is coming from, you might even consider that the dispatching might make a different decision in that point in time. If they know the caller is up there, maybe they have a boat out there to get there. So I just want you to understand why it is really relevant having the exact position for this.
So understanding that mobile networks place a challenge for emergency response, we are also going to see within enterprise networks, with the technical transition from ISDN networks to SIP-based networks over the next couple of years, that while they are going to place a challenge for emergency calling as well. In a world which we have had over the past 3-4 decades with us, where all enterprise calls have been raised from PBXs that were residing in one specific location. This is going to change as well. If I consider my own extension being placed in Frankfurt in Germany, this is going to change, or has already changed. If I travel around Europe, I could go to the Hamburg office, I could go to the Paris office, or I could even go to the Dubai office, still being available and reachable under my Germany extension. But what does this mean for raising an emergency call? So this is an aspect that probably is not immediately in the focus of everyone, but it's going to place quite some challenge for emergency response here as well. Another topic is the geographical consolidation of public safety answering points. Many of them over the past have been positioned where they are in a municipal environment, and they have been grown based on the requirements of the city. But as more and more response needs to happen between organizations, and sometimes when we see difficult situations like overwhelming call situations based on natural disasters or man-made disasters, we sense that these very small public safety answering points are under high pressure because of the amount of calls that they're receiving. So this is a reason why many countries think about centralizing public safety answering points, or consolidating them at least, to come to bigger entities that are capable of coping with a higher amount of calls. And last but not least, we see a lot of challenges in multi-agency and cross-border response between different areas of responsibility, between different services, when not everyone is on the same page regarding the information on the case when they arrive on scene. So all of those challenges can be divided into functional or organizational challenges, and thus all of those challenges will be tackled by digital transformation, building on next generation 112 or next generation 911 principles to solve these challenges, proposing new and modern concepts.